Paul, in his letter to the Romans, in chapter 12, urges all followers of Christ, do not be conformed by the pattern of this world, but instead be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's good will is. When I read these words from Romans chapter 12, they immediately raise questions for me. One of the first questions that it raises for me is, what is the pattern of this world? Now, the pattern of this world, I firmly believe, changes from one generation to the next. Each culture is going to have a different pattern. And so when I read those words from Romans chapter 12, I can understand a bit about what the patterns were back in the day of Paul in Rome. But then I also have to ask myself, what are the patterns of the world here and now? And as I ask that first question, but what are the patterns of the world, the second question that it raises for me is, am I conformed by those patterns, or am I conformed more by the will of God? Now, I heard this phrase before, and I think it's a really helpful phrase. The phrase is, don't ask a fish what water is like. Now, it's a really helpful phrase because when you think about that, it's a crazy question, because fish don't know what water is like, even though they're constantly surrounded by it, and they don't know what water is like because they don't know what the absence of water is like. And this is where I think Paul's urging in Romans chapter 12 is really important for us. Don't be conformed by the pattern of this world. Well, do we actually know what the pattern of this world is? Because much like fish, the pattern of this world is all around us. It's in the ads that we see coming across our news feed. It's in the things that we watch on TV. It's in the Facebook posts that we see. The patterns of this world are everywhere around us, that they are the water that we are swimming in. And when you think about it in that way, you can hear the tension and the difficulty that Paul is actually laying out for the people of Rome. How do you not be conformed by the pattern that you're swimming in? Well, there's an invitation to have Jesus Christ constantly be renewing our minds and our hearts. So I want to invite you into a journey of renewing our minds and our hearts. Now, I want to be abundantly clear with you on this. This is a journey that I myself am on. I don't actually even know where this journey is going to go. So if you're willing to follow a leader who's trying to discover the way with you, then come along with me. But if you're looking for a person who knows exactly where he's going and exactly what the end game is going to be, that's not quite what's happening with me. You see, what I'm going to be leading you on is a journey of discipleship that I am still on. Back in late February, early March, I began this journey of discipleship with this church in Manitoba. And it's a journey called Church Renewal, and part of that is a discipleship program which is called Abide. And through the lessons of Abide, we together are learning what does it look like to be tapped into the water of who Jesus is, to be tethered to the vine of who Jesus is, so we can further understand how the patterns of this world might be shaping us, so that way we can say no to those patterns shaping us and say yes to being shaped by the love of Jesus. So I invite you over the next number of days, weeks, however often you can tune in, to come with me on this journey, of abiding in Christ for His name and for His glory's sake. Come on, let's go.